Yo, what is going on? This is the Jay Cartere Show Podcast, and I am your host, Jay Cartere. In this episode, I want to talk about complaining, as it seems to be a widespread thing. I don't know if social media has amplified it or people have just been complainers forever. I think people have been complainers forever, and now social media gives people an outlet for their complaints and other people who will complain with them and give them retweets for complaining about things and whatnot. But there's definitely a culture of offense. There's a culture of recreational offense. I want to talk about that. I want to talk about some of the pitfalls it has, especially when your actions don't help your actual goal. But first of all, I want to talk about something positive, which is basically today is Thursday the 16th of August. This will probably come out in 2 weeks. But today, a lot of students were getting their A-level results and acceptances into universities and whatnot. There was a lot of that being posted on my timeline, which I'm not very enthusiastic about because I think uni's useless unless you want to go into certain fields, like you want to become a doctor, you want to become a lawyer, or anything that requires you to go to uni. Fair enough, go to uni. But if you want to, don't go to uni to study business. Go start a business and learn about business that way. You'll spend those 4 years a whole lot better if you actually get out in the real world and learn what works and what doesn't work. I mean, uni can teach you some things, yeah, because I learned some things in college when I studied business and whatnot, like that I probably wouldn't know now, but I could go on the internet and learn that in like half an hour. The amount of time that you spend in uni and the amount that you learn, you can do that at home, man. You can self-educate if you're that type of person, but I understand people that aren't the type of person who would be able to self-educate themselves and they need that form of structure. But that, we're not talking about education today. I kind of was thinking maybe I'll have a podcast about education, but we're not doing that. I don't know if I've discussed it already in the past, but we'll probably do it in the future if I haven't already done it. But the positive thing was Stormzy, who's a UK, I'm gonna call him a rapper. I think we'll call him a rapper. But he makes grime and rap. He seems like a rapper that raps over grime beats. Because when I think of grime MCs, I think of people like Gets and Screwfizzer and people who like spit fast, basically. Like Kano seems like a rapper to me, and Stormzy is a rapper, like, because he can spit at a reasonable tempo where you can hear everything that he's saying. Like, no shade to the grime MCs, like grime just isn't for me, to be honest. But I like Stormzy, although I'm not gonna say I'm a super big fan of Stormzy or anything like that. But Stormzy has basically created a scholarship where he's going to be paying for 2 students tuition and maintenance grants to, I think it was Cambridge. I think that was the university, but honestly, the university doesn't really matter. The fact that he's taking money out of his pocket, I think he's taking money out of his pocket. I'm not 100% sure of all the details around the situation, but the fact that he's doing this and has gone to create a scholarship, even if some other company is paying for it or whatever, and he's been able to pull the strings to get involved with it and to make it happen, it's a really positive thing. It's a really, really great thing, and I just wanted to bring that to your attention, that he's doing something positive, and this is the type of behavior that is better than complaining. Like, anytime someone's like, oh, life is hard for me and there's all these obstacles in my way, blah blah blah, like, just doing that and sitting down and feeling sorry for yourself ain't gonna do shit. Like, it isn't going to move you closer to where you want to be. The only way you can change the world is if you change your own circumstances, like Stormzy did. He was grinding for years. Like, some people will be like, oh well, it's Stormzy could do stuff like that. No, he was out here grinding for years. He started from zero. He I swear he grew up in like a council estate or whatever. I think he did. I can't put that on, man, just because he's black or whatever, but I think he did. I think he came from humble beginnings like myself, and he was out there and he was grinding for years until shit finally started popping off, And, you know, now he's successful, and now he's put himself in a position where he can start to begin to help his community, the black community, which is what we need to do in the black community. We need to focus on becoming successful ourselves, and then, you know, putting back into the community through, you know, things like this, or whatever you believe in that you want to help with. Like like I want to help young entrepreneurs build businesses. Like that's my big goal. That's my big, what's the word? I wouldn't say it's charitable, but if I was to say it was a charitable cause, that's my charitable cause. That's what I want to do, because I think that will help a lot more people. Like, just helping a group of people become entrepreneurs will then help them hire a group of other people, and it, you know, it trickles down, and the wealth spreads. And I think financial independence and creating financial freedom is the way there. That's why I try to talk about money management. I talk about building a business and these sorts of things. I'll probably start making videos on these sorts of things. I've only really covered this stuff in my podcast because it's kind of like a tester. I'll put it out there, share my thoughts on it, and try and give you guys some jewels, and then I'll refine it into like a video format when I'm ready to do that. Maybe this year, maybe next year, I don't know. But yeah, I just wanted to put it out there. Pardon me. There was a tweet that went around of some guy who basically retweeted the story, and it was like, okay, what, you're gonna be giving a scholarship to 2 black people, what about, you know, Asian people from low income homes, and white people, and I think he said Indian people, I think stuff like that. He just said different races, innit? And there was backlash, as far as I could see on my timeline, from a lot of black people saying, you know, like, I can't even bother to go into it, but it's like, it's basically saying Stormzy doesn't need to explain himself for why he's basically helping out 2 black kids. And yeah, I 100% believe that. And a lot of people were saying, you know, certain demographics don't like it when you know, black people actually start helping out their community. They say things like, you need to help yourself, and then when you go and help yourself, they're like, no, worry about everyone else. I understand where people are coming from with that. This isn't the complaining that I'm talking about, by the way, if anyone gets that misconstrued. It was just the story around what happened. Like, it seemed like people were saying that there was a lot of opposition to this from other races because they deemed it as racist, but I only really saw this one tweet, so I can't speak to that and say that that is correct. But I 100% understand why Stormzy is giving scholarships to 2 black people. If you don't understand it, then I'll try to explain it to you. I think what Stormzy was, I think there was like a message with it when he was saying like he wants to help basically, you know, black people who think that they don't have, young black people who think that they don't have opportunities. He wants to help show them that they have the opportunity to go to uni if they want to, and they can get into these spaces. And I think that is a very great thing. And the reason why Stormzy is picking 2 black people, first of all, it's only 2 people. Now, I don't mean to say it's only 2 people, like, oh, you know, why don't you do some more? I mean, there's not a lot of wiggle room to help everyone. Like, I don't know, he's got limited funds. He's starting out with 2 people. Like, maybe he'll get funding and grants and stuff and be able to bring it to a wider variety of people, or not a wider variety of people, but a wider net of people. But like, we as black people need to focus on helping our community, and it's really, really important, because when you look at other communities, I'm going to be talking about London specifically because I don't know about the way it breaks down in America, and I think it's kind of a different experience. But in London, there's like, let me give you an example. The Indian community, well, first of all, people were saying like, why don't you ask Amir Khan and Ed Sheeran and shit like that, which is very valid points. Like, you shouldn't be looking to Stormzy to help fucking everyone. Like, that's BS. Let him do what he wants to do with his money. That's his personal choice. If he wants to help out 2 black people, you should say that is great. You should not have a negative word to say about that. You can't be like, come out and say, oh, well, you help those people, but why don't you help these people? I think people who do that are dickheads because they usually ain't doing shit themselves. But beyond that, the black community, generally, like, I don't see a lot of black owned businesses and that sort of stuff. We do have like Caribbean shops and some grocers and whatnot. I see that around the community, but generally, when you think of someone who owns like a off license, which is like a corner shop or something like that, I don't know if everyone knows the term off license, because that got given to me by my mother. My mum's Jamaican, so I don't know where she got that from. But off license is like the shop at the petrol station. It usually says off license for some reason. I've never done any research into why it's off license, but maybe it's not licensed. But I don't know. But shops, corner shops, that sort of stuff, they're usually run by Asian people. Usually run by like Indians, Pakistanis. I don't really see Chinese people running these shops, really. Even Armenians and whatnot, and Turkish people. Like, these are the people that generally are owning these businesses. Then you have the Jewish community, which, like, the Jewish community in London, like, especially in Stamford Hill, they have their own community. They have like their own Jewish police. They have their own shops where they go and get their Jewish stuff, and they have their own Jewish schools. Like, they have their thing on lock, and that keeps wealth in the community. It helps make everyone more wealthy, so they're living a better quality of life, and it's just better for the community, and then it's better for the world. Because when you help yourself, you help the community, then you can help the world. Like, that is what you have to do. And I think Stormzy focusing on the black community is really, really necessary, because we don't really have a lot of celebrities giving back to the black community, as far as I remember, and we don't really have a lot of staples in the culture as in terms of, like, you know, we own some shit. Like, we don't really see a lot of black people owning some shit, and I think that really needs to be something that we should focus on, and something which we should try to move towards. And I really like this step in the correct direction. Now, that is a step in the correct direction. A step in the wrong direction is to sit about on Twitter complaining about stuff. And this is what I see a lot of people doing. Complaining about their situations, complaining about the so-called privilege that they don't have, complaining about the responsibilities they have that restrict them from pursuing opportunities. People who think from this mindset, who complain a lot, and maybe you're a complainer. If you're a complainer, I urge you to listen to the end of this. I don't want you to like be like, he's dissing complainers, let me leave. I want you to change your mindset. Now, when you look at every problem like it's someone else's fault, you put yourself in a victim mindset. And this is what I see a lot of people online doing. They put themselves in a victim mindset. And it's not just online. Like, people I've known throughout my life have been in this sort of victim mindset, or this complaining mindset, where they complain about shit and then don't actually work towards changing that thing that they're complaining about. They just complain about stuff and continue complaining about that, and never actually make any real consistent effort to change their circumstance. And, you know, that's just going to leave you really, really unhappy and with a lot of regrets later on in life. But that's none of my business, isn't it? You can do whatever you want, but it's just really annoying to see people complain online, because I don't want that on my timeline. No one wants to see that. The only people who want to see complainers is other people who want to complain with you. The people who are retweeting you and replying to you and saying, yeah, that makes sense, things should be different, those are other complainers. Like, if you really want to change things, complaining really is not going to do it for you. Like, some people may say, protests and shit work. Look at what Martin Luther King done and whatnot. But that was in the 1960s, man. Right about now, it's 2018. Like, everyone can complain from the comfort of their own home and complain to like millions of people. That's not going to fucking change the world. The thing that changes the world is money. Financial power changes the world. If you ain't got no financial power, if you're out here broke, yeah, then no one cares what you got to say, because you can't make any decisions that will hurt them. Like, companies don't give a shit what you got to say unless you then have a bunch of people who are following you or who listen to you that you can influence and get them not to buy a product. When you boycott a company, that's when they'll start listening. When people go on strike, that's when people start listening. When you're at home complaining about shit and then you're buying stuff from Amazon or whatever, and you're paying taxes and shit to the government and doing all this sort of shit and getting that to your job that you complain about and say you hate and say, you know, people shouldn't have to work like this and blah blah blah, when you just continue living how you do, like, why do you think anything is gonna fucking change? It's not going to. And what I was saying before is this mindset that people come to when they're complaining is they look at every obstacle as a problem that is unsolvable. It's either a problem that's unsolvable or it's a problem that is someone else's fault. And that takes the responsibility off your back, which may make you feel great in a short amount of time, in the short term, but in the long term, it really doesn't help you at all. Like, it really doesn't help you change your life and help you become happier and help you do anything that actually changes the circumstances, because you are putting that responsibility on other people and things that you do not control. Now, when you start looking at problems and obstacles as opportunities, and you start looking at obstacle and being like, okay, this is an obstacle, what can I do to overcome it, to get around it, to get through it? That's when you'll see your life starts to change, when you start taking responsibility for everything that goes wrong in your life. Anytime, like, let's say you're an upcoming YouTuber, you've put out 5 videos, they've all got like 6 views max. Instead of being like, oh, the YouTube algorithm is not helping me, YouTube hates new YouTubers, why don't you look at yourself and be like, what can I do to actually make my next videos perform better? Or what can I do to reach these goals that I have? Like, and what did I do wrong? What was wrong with these videos? What's going on here? Why aren't these videos popping off? And, you know, even if you had the greatest videos and whatnot and you put them out and you had a new YouTube channel and you put 5 videos out, they'll probably get like 6 views anyways, to be honest. Like, even if they're the best videos in the world. But if you do that introspective examination and you look through the videos, then you start seeing where your flaws are or where your flaws aren't, and then you're able to you come from a different mindset, you come from a different place, you're more willing to go and do research, to learn about other things, to learn, okay, this didn't work for me, why is this not working for me? Let me go and see what isn't working for me. Because I've put out a bunch of videos on like growing your YouTube channel and stuff, but most people don't watch them. Like, most people don't care about going and researching how to grow their channel and researching how to do this and do that. Most people just fling up a couple videos, they see that it's not working for them and they don't stick through it, and they're like, okay, the system's rigged. Basically, like, everyone starts from zero, man. Like, it's a really hard grind to get anywhere, but if you stay consistent and you stay looking at problems as opportunities instead of just, you know, obstacles that you can't get past, you'll find your way there eventually. And that's just more pragmatic than sitting around complaining about shit. And another thing that's really, really prevalent on social media is this outrage Olympics, man. People are just being outraged about everything and virtue signaling all over the gaff, and it is just so fucking silly, bruv. Like, let me explain to you why it's so counterproductive to someone who's even well-meaning. And I don't think that everyone who does shit like this is well-meaning. I think a lot of people are just very insecure and they want attention, so they do shit like this and talk about hot button topics in order to, you know, appeal to the common denominator, appeal to people's virtuous side and be like, hey, I'm the good guy, why don't you cheer for me? And I think that's very, very common. But let's talk about someone who's coming to this from a positive light. They want to change things. Let's say that this person sees an article that says black people are disgusting. Now, this person, will retweet this article and say, I cannot believe these people would say such a thing. This is disgusting, blah, 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 etc., blah, blah, blah. This will get like, well, if you're lucky, you'll get like thousands of retweets or hundreds or whatever, maybe tens, blah, blah, blah. Because obviously people are going to be like, yeah, that's terrible. Some people are going to be like, oh, that's great. But most people, well, let me not say most, but a lot of people are going to be like, yeah, that's terrible. And they're going to show you support. But the thing with that, yeah, is you've just publicized the opinion and the kind of content that you don't want to exist. And what you're doing there is you are effectively marketing this thing that you so hate, and you're helping it reach more eyes, which is counterproductive. It's fucking stupid. It doesn't help you whatsoever. If you wanted to kill racism, you don't point out like all the racists and talk about all this fucking, well, you can talk about racism and all that sort of shit, but you don't retweet articles and all this sort of stuff. Like if you disagree with something, scroll past. Like, this is what people need to be doing. If you feel like something is outrageous, it's offensive, scroll past. Don't talk about it. Don't broadcast it to anyone. If anything, no, don't even write about it. Don't even share an opinion about it. Unless, do a podcast or something. Share an opinion on there, and don't even give any light to the actual tweet. Just tell people like what you feel and all that sort of stuff if you want. But retweeting it and, being outraged at shit and commenting on it and doing anything like that, any interaction on the platform, just helps the post. It helps it in the algorithm because, as I've said before, all these social media algorithms, they rank interaction. And when you interact with a post, that sends a ding to the algorithm. And the algorithm is basically like, this must be good content. Let me spread it to more people. Because all these social media platforms, they're made to keep you on the platform. So they want to feed you more shit that's going to keep you on the platform. So if they see that a lot of people interacted with this, read it for a long amount of time, or was in the comments section and replying to a bunch of tweets about it and all that sort of stuff, then they're going to promote that to you, and then you're going to see it, and then what are you going to do? You're going to pass it on to someone else and keep it going and keep it becoming even more popular. And it's just counterproductive to what you're seeking. If you ever see someone say something that you find offensive, unless you have a really funny response, like if you got a really funny response and you can like do that really well, then have at it. But if you're just saying, this is so offensive, this is terrible, blah blah blah, then scroll past, because you ain't adding anything to the conversation. You're just spatting out the obvious. Keep it moving and don't promote it, because it's not helping you, it's not helping anyone. All it's doing is bringing more attention to it. And yeah, I think that's basically my thoughts on that, man. I don't want to lecture anyone. Like, if you want to vent online, then fair enough. You can vent 5 tweets a day, not 20 tweets. Chill out. If all your tweets are you being offended at something, get off Twitter. Like, it's not for you. Twitter's become a really, it's become a really weird place where like everyone's offended. Well, not everyone, but there's a large number of people who get super offended and super aggressive. Like, they're not even just being like, this is offensive, and you can have a conversation with them. They get super aggressive. They're like, oh my god, how could you even think something near this? Oh my god, you must mean this, you must mean that, you must want genocide for everyone. They're just wild jumps to conclusions because people just want to be offended, and they want to be the person who's the good one, the person who's right. Luckily, I don't give a shit about what people think about me online. I don't care, bruv. I don't care. If you ain't paying my bills, you ain't a customer, you ain't buying shit, why do I care what you think of me? You ain't my friend, you ain't my family. I don't give a shit what strangers think online. All I care about is the truth. I care about the essence of truth, and I like having discussions with people. That's where I'm at. I don't give a shit if people dislike me. As long as I'm true to what I believe, then that's all that really matters. And I am true to what I believe, because I'm not sugarcoating anything. I don't come out here chatting bullshit. I don't come out here trying to make people like me or trying to appeal to people, because I don't need to. I put myself in a position where I don't need to. Sorry, I don't know what that thing was. Something just happened with my throat. But linking back to the Stormzy thing, the thing that's better than Twitter activism is actually focusing on yourself, creating financial power, and putting yourself in a position where you can actually help people. You being a Twitter activist doesn't help anyone. It doesn't. All it does is give you Twitter clout, gets you more followers, and allows you to talk more about these issues. That's not really going to help anyone. Unless you're looking to become a politician and trying to get votes and all that sort of shit, and you want to actively change laws, then fair enough. If that's your goal, go ahead. But all this protesting and all that sort of shit, you're better off starting a business that makes money and focusing on that, trying to become obscenely rich, and then actually funneling that back into the people that you want to help, and actually making a real difference in the world, instead of sitting around asking other people to make a difference. Because when you do that, when you put the onus on other people, nothing happens generally. Like, other people aren't going to do it. And if you put it on the government, you're like, yo, the government needs to do this, blah, blah, blah. The government ain't going to do shit until enough people are saying, yo, you need to do this, and enough important people are doing that. People are actually voting with what they think, and a lot of people don't vote based on policies. They just vote based on, you know, the headlines and the big bullet points, and that's not a great system either. I think, you know, if you really want change, then you need to do it yourself. I think that's just better than relying on other people, because you can't control what other people do, and I think it's very unlikely that the government or anyone else is going to save you or save this community or save anything that you have any love for. You're better off trying to do it yourself. And that is why I thought it was great to shine the light on Stormzy, because, you know, he's said things on social media about, you know, things that he doesn't like and whatnot, but he's not on social media all day complaining about shit, as far as I know. I don't follow him, so I don't know. But as far as I know, he's not on social media all day complaining about shit, and he's actively making moves to make a real change. This actively makes a real change, and you know what had to happen for him to make this real change? He had to make money. He couldn't do it without the money. There was, like, how you gonna fund people's scholarships without money, cuz? Like, that is, it's true. Money makes the world go around, and I don't want this to seem like, yo, you gotta be Scrooge McDuck and collect all the coins. But if you want to make a difference, if you want to change the world, financial power is where it's at, because people listen to people who have buying power. When you have buying power, you have the ability to change people's minds. People's minds can be changed with some money. Maybe that's called bribery, maybe it's called lobbying, maybe it's called politics, but that is what it is. That is the reality of the world in this capitalist society that we live in, you know, some other countries where it's not capital. Well, I think those countries are ruled by money as well. Even the communist countries, they're ruled by money and corruption, but the corruption is generally, I think, well, it's like protection from being killed, and money so that you have a better quality of life, so that you continue being corrupt. It's like, I think I've explained myself in it, and I just want to get this idea out to more people that, you know, if you're sitting around and you're like, you know what, the world is shitty, I've been dealt a raw hand, stuff isn't going my way, bro, like, do you know how many people, I don't even know how many people, but a lot of people, I'm not even going to say that, people have been in shitty situations and they've made it out of it and become successful. Like, so you can make it out of a shitty situation, and if you're able to listen to this podcast, then you have the internet. That means you have no excuse. Like, it doesn't matter how bad your life is right about now. If you have the internet, you have no excuse. Like, you could etch out an hour every day to working towards something. No matter how many responsibilities and priorities and stuff that you need to take care of, there is a way. There's always a solution. You can make a solution. Stop looking at things as like problems that you can't solve. People use a lot of excuses like, I can't do this, maybe I've got a family, or maybe I need to pay the bills, or I need to do this, or I need to do that. Yo, those are obstacles. Those are problems. Problems have solutions. You can find solutions for these problems. Don't just get a problem and be like, yo, there's a problem here, it's done. What the fuck, bruv? That's not the way it works. You don't just let a problem come in your way and that stops everything that you're working towards. You have to look at it, you have to analyze it, and you have to think outside the box and see where you can create solutions. And you know, I got that from growing up being poor. I think I talked about it in the last 2 episodes. But like I got to a point where I realized no one was going to save me. I wanted to get a record deal, and I thought, you know, eventually I could get signed and blah blah blah. But then I realized it wasn't going to happen, and I needed to save myself, and I got really realistic. I became a realist instead of an optimist, and I was like, okay, no one's going to save me. I need to save myself. And every time there was a problem, I looked at it and I was like, okay, here's a problem. How do I solve it? I wasn't like, oh, here's a problem. This is the end of everything. This is the end of the world. Maybe sometimes, you know, there was some big problems that had me feeling like that for a little while. But you got to make it through it. You got to push through, and you got to look for the solutions. And that is really, really important. And I want to get everyone into that mindset and move them away from this complaining mindset, sitting around complaining and not actually doing anything. If you're happy with your life and you don't want to change anything, then, you know, that's great. Be content. Contentment is great, man. Unless you want to do more. If you want to do more and you want more from your life, then go out and try and get more. Like, that is the way it works. You don't sit around and complain that you don't have more. That's not going to do anything. that's just it's just not going to do anything. It's just not going to do anything. And if it does do anything, you're waiting on the power of other people. You're waiting on other people to come around and be like, okay, you know, this guy's talking some sense, let's try and work with him. And that is just not as reliable as taking it into your own hands and pulling yourself out of that situation and actually doing something yourself. And I think everyone just needs to get more self-reliant, more, what's the word when you actually analyze yourself? I don't know what the word is, but you need to have more self-awareness, definitely. And when things go wrong, you need to look at yourself first and be like, what did I do to contribute to this going wrong? And I think that will just that shift in mindset, and thinking of, just when you see a problem, thinking of solutions instead of like, okay, this is the problem, it's ended, now we got to do something else. Instead of doing that, to think of what solutions you can use to overcome that problem. If you use these things, then your life will just get better. Your life will get way, way better, because you'll actually be moving towards the things that you want. As long as you know what you want, that is very, very important as well. And that comes from self-awareness. You need to know what you actually want in life so that you can work towards what you actually want. And yeah, that's my talk on that. I'm gonna be going to bed soon. It's like 8:30. We're going to bed some early times these days, so I'm hoping to go to bed before 10, because I just want more time. I want more time. My times, I haven't been using my time very efficiently, especially since, you know, coming over the building shit. I've still got a lot of clearing up to do and all that sort of stuff, and like my sleeping pattern was terrible from there. So I'm just trying to tighten things up, and I'm also trying to be less guilty for doing shit that I want to do. Like I want to play this game on the PC, but I feel guilty for buying it and then playing it when I've got other games that I need to complete. So I'm trying to do that. It's a lot of shit going on in my mind, but it's not super important problems that I want to daunt you guys with. But I just wanted to, you know, I wanted to share my thoughts on complaining and, you know, actually moving towards things and how you can actually make a difference, like what Stormzy's doing. And I wanted to shift people away from that, you know, just moaning mindset, because it doesn't help you. It really doesn't help you. So yeah, stop complaining. if you got any questions or you've got any thoughts to share, please leave a comment down below. Also, please leave a review on iTunes. That is really great. Thanks for watching and liking and subscribing. I'll see you in the next podcast. Peace out. If you want to learn how I got over 23,000 subscribers and millions of views on my YouTube gaming channel, then you are in luck. Sign up to this free course right now. Link will be in the card, in the description, and in the pinned comment. Or go to growonyoutube.com/20k SEO course. In this course, you will learn the best way to write your video titles, tags, and descriptions to help you rank on the first page of YouTube. It's simple when you know what to do. I'll also show you a hack that will help you choose the right key phrases and help you create videos that can rank and get views no matter what game you play. Stop struggling to grow your YouTube gaming channel and start doing what works. Click on the link in the description or go to growonyoutube.com/20k SEO course. This course will not be up forever, so get in there as soon as possible. I hope to see you here soon, and I wish you the best of luck on your journey of turning your passion into your career.
It's been a cold winter and it's lasted far too long. So all this warmth I share with you,